Hi friends, it's time for another Sunday School with Miss Vicki. If you remember, we finished talking about Paul and his dangerous journey and all the bad things that happened to him, but yet he preached the gospel everywhere he went. I thought it would be fun to talk about one of my other favorite people in the Bible, a young man by the name of Joseph. Joseph is in the Old Testament. And we're going to start today by reading in the book of Genesis. Genesis is the very first book in the Bible. We're going to look at Genesis chapter 37, and we're going to start at verse 2. It says, "When Joseph was 17 years old, he often tended to his father's flocks." That means he was a shepherd. He worked for his half-brothers, the sons of his father's wives, Bilhah and Silpah. But Joseph reported to his father some of the bad things his brothers were doing. Joseph reported some of the bad things his brothers were doing. What might be another word for that? Tell-telling. Jacob loved Joseph more than any of his other children because Joseph had been born to him in his old age. Is that the right thing to do? To love one of your sons more than the others? It's not. And you know what? Jacob created a really crazy home life for all of his family. There is so much drama in there. If you watch any reality TV, this would make a great reality television show. So one day, Jacob, the dad, had a special gift made for Joseph. Can you guess what it was? Let's get Jacob. There's the dad. And there's Joseph. What's the very special gift he made for his son? A very special robe. There we go. But his brothers hated Joseph because their father loved him more than the rest of them. They couldn't say a kind word to him. Let's get the brothers up here now. Joseph had a lot of brothers. He had 11 brothers. That's a lot of brothers. One night, Joseph had a dream, and when he told his brothers about it, they hated him more than ever. "Listen to this dream," he said. "We were out in the field tying up bundles of grain." Here's a bundle of grain. Maybe you've seen these on the side of the road as you're driving by places. Suddenly, my bundle stood up, and your bundles all gathered around and bowed low before mine. His brothers responded, "So you think you will be our king, do you? Do you actually think you will reign over us?" And they hated him all the more because of his dreams and the way he talked about them. He was a boaster. He was a bragger. "I'm better than you are. I'm better than you are." Do you know anybody like that? Soon Joseph had another dream. Let's get rid of this dream. Soon Joseph had another dream. And again he told his brothers about it. "Listen, I've had another dream," he said. Here's what happened in this dream. The sun and the moon and 11 stars. Why do you think 11 stars were in his dream? What are they supposed to represent? How many brothers does he have? 11 brothers. All right, you can count them. Is that 11? "I've had another dream," he said. "The sun, moon, and 11 stars bowed low before me." This time he told the dream to his father as well as his brothers, but his father scolded him. "What kind of dream is that? Will your mother and I and your brothers actually come and bow down to the ground before you?" But while Joseph's brothers were jealous of Joseph, his father wondered what the dreams meant. Maybe you know this story, and maybe you know what these dreams mean. Soon after this, Joseph's brothers went to pasture their father's flocks at Shechem. Let's get rid of the brothers, and let's get rid of this dream. I bet the brothers don't want to hear about this dream anymore. so the brothers are out with the sheep in another city. When they'd been gone for some time, Jacob said to Joseph, "Your brothers are pasturing the sheep at Shechem. Get ready, and I will send you to them." "I'm ready to go," replied Joseph. "Go and see how your brothers and the flocks are getting along," Jacob said. "Then come back and bring me a report." Kind of sounds like he's sending Jacob to spy on his brothers. Jacob is not helping the situation at all. There's already lots of drama and craziness going on. And then he gives his youngest son this coat, this really fancy coat, and none of the other kids get one. That's tough. We're going to skip ahead to verse 28. Genesis 37, verse 18. Genesis 38, verse 18. So, where are we going? We're going to Shechem. We got to change the scene. Okay, Dad is not here anymore. And we got to change our picture. Let's see. Let's put in a palm tree. Nice and tropical. And what's something sheep need? They need some water to drink. So let's put some water in. And we got to get the brothers. All right, here we go. When Joseph's brothers saw him coming, here's Joseph way off in the distance. They recognized him in the distance. As he approached, I'm not sure we should read this part. Here's what it says. As Joseph approached, they made plans to kill him. "Here comes the dreamer," they said. "Come on, let's kill him and throw him into one of these cisterns." This is a cistern. It's kind of like a well. "We can tell our father a wild animal has eaten him. Then we'll see what becomes of his dreams." But when Reuben, one of the brothers, heard of their scheme, he came to Joseph's rescue. "Let's not kill him," he said. "Why should we shed any blood? Let's just throw him into the empty cistern here in the wilderness. Then he'll die without our laying hands on him." Reuben was secretly planning to rescue Joseph and return him to his father. Well, that's pretty nice. So when Joseph arrived, here's Joseph. His brothers ripped off the beautiful robe he was wearing. They grabbed him and threw him into the cistern. Give him a toss. There was no water in it. Then, just as they were sitting down to eat, they looked up and saw a caravan of camels in the distance. There they are, traveling a long way. It was a group of Ishmaelite traders taking a load of gum, balm, and aromatic resin from Gilead down to Egypt. Judah, that's one of the other brothers, said to his brothers, "What will we gain by killing our brother? We'd have to cover up the crime. Instead of hurting him, let's sell him to the Ishmaelite traders. After all, he is our brother, our own flesh and blood." Oh, like selling him into slavery is any better. And his brothers agreed. So when the Ishmaelites, who were Midianite traders, came by, Joseph's brothers pulled him out of the cistern and sold Joseph to them for 20 pieces of silver. And the traders took off for Egypt. Off they go to Egypt. Sometime later, Reuben returned to get Joseph out of the cistern. When he discovered that Joseph was missing, he tore his clothes in grief. Then he went back to his brothers and lamented, "The boy is gone. What will I do now?" What will who do? What will I do? What will Reuben do? Well, what about Joseph? Reuben seemed like he was doing things that was nice to protect him, but sounds like he's being kind of selfish. What am I going to do? Then the brothers killed a young goat and dipped Joseph's robe in its blood. They sent the beautiful robe to their father with this message: "Look what we found. Doesn't this robe belong to your son?" Their father recognized it immediately. "Yes," he said, "it's my son's robe. A wild animal must have eaten him. Joseph has clearly been torn to pieces." Then Jacob tore his clothes and dressed himself in burlap. That's what people used to do to show that they were angry or that they were sad or that they were mourning. He mourned deeply for his son for a long time. His family all tried to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted. "I will go to my grave mourning for my son," he would say, and then he would weep. Meanwhile, the Midian traders arrived in Egypt, where they sold Joseph to Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, the king of Egypt. Potiphar was the captain of the palace guard. Okay, there's a lot happening in this story, right? Let's think back to the beginning. How would you describe Joseph? He's kind of a brat. He's bragging, he's tattletelling on his brothers. It's hard to deal with people when they're annoying, isn't it? And people can be annoying. Can we control what they say? Can we control what they do? Nope. Even as a parent, I can't control what my kids do. They make their own choices, and sometimes there's good consequences and sometimes there's bad consequences. Who can I control? I can control myself, right? And Joseph's brothers had anger, and they were so angry. They had anger and bitterness building up in their hearts because they didn't like what Joseph was doing. You know, Jesus tells us in the Sermon on the Mount that if we have that anger, if we have that bitterness, if we have jealousy in our heart, it's just as bad as if we actually did kill that person. That's really tough stuff. Because I get angry. I get annoyed with people. And Jesus says, that's not right. Here's the thing. We are all fallen people. We are all broken. We are all sinners. And we all need Jesus. If you remember our buddy Paul, he had some very special words to help us deal with people who maybe aren't so easy to deal with. Here's what Paul says in his letter to the Ephesians. He says, always be humble and gentle. Be patient with each other. And that's in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 2a. Always be humble and gentle. If we look at Joseph at the beginning of the story, he was not humble. He was proud. He was bragging. If we look at his brothers, they were not gentle. And I think the whole family could have used a huge dose of patience. You know what, friends? These are things we can remember today too. Maybe you've been trapped in your house with a little brother or a little sister or a big brother or a big sister, and it's hard. We need to remember to always be humble and gentle. Be patient with each other. So this is where we're going to end our story for today. But if you remember, Joseph is going off to slavery in Egypt. We're going to have to find out next time what happens when he gets to Egypt. Until then, I want you to remember that God loves you, God made you, and he has a very special plan for your life. See you next time.